The Infrastructure Investment Benchmark tool is an enhanced data visualization tool that utilizes different functions within Excel to better explain trends, specifically within the infrastructure asset class. By utilizing this tool, the user will be able to benchmark overall infrastructure asset performance and compare that to the infrastructure investment performance of the firm. Upon entering the tool, you will land on the first sheet, which is our Asset Class Dashboard feature. On this sheet, you will see the various graphs that describe different key characteristics of the infrastructure class. The graphs are broken into three main categories: data summary, average realized loss as a percentage of invested capital, and gross MOI and gross IRR. Within each of the three main categories, there are several graphs for the user to view based on what their interest is. For example, the user can see the average realized loss as a percentage of invested capital by subsector in this graph. We can see that wood pallet subsector had the highest average realized loss as a percentage of invested capital based on the provided data. This dashboard also gives you the ability to interact and manipulate the visuals based on what you want to see. On the left, you will find slicers to manipulate the graphs by investment date, broad geographical region, and sector to get a more specific view of the data you are interested in. For example, if I wanted to populate the graphs with investment data from the years 2006 to 2010, I can click these filters to change the results of the graphs. This dashboard is an effective way to gain high-level insights into class performance, but there are other features to explore if you want to gain more insights about the data. Following the dashboard sheet is the dynamic quartiling sheet. Within this sheet, you will find buttons in the top left corner. Clicking on this first button will prompt a user form to pop up. This user form is a querying mechanism that is linked to the raw data sheet, which is currently populated with infrastructure deals that have been collected. In this form, it will ask you specifically what data you will want to query based off of deal characteristics, including inventory date, sector, subsector, a broad geography, and a specific geography. Once you are satisfied with your filtering selections, hit the Filter Data button. At this point, the data you have requested will populate to the right side of the sheet. This table of data includes every deal that meets your given query that you provided within the user form. After you've executed a query using the user form, summary statistics will populate here. There are two sections. One includes a breakdown of the current data's quartiles, and the other includes either the sum or average of different deal characteristics, such as number of deals, total invested capital, total value in US dollars, average hold period, weighted average gross IRR, average gross MOI, average percent less than 1 times, and average realized loss as a percent of invested capital. Categories also include a standard deviation if it can be applicable to the set of data. This gives you specific insights about the data queried by the user form that can be used to further analyze the infrastructure asset class. If you're looking to store the data that you've queried using the user form so that you can create another data set, you can use the provided Save Table button to save the current table of queried data to the right of the active table. Once the table is saved, you can begin to query another set of data using the Query Interface button. Once you are finished with your saved queries, you can click the Clear Tables button to clear all of the tables to the right of your active query. If you are interested in gathering additional insights, you can return to the dashboard and navigate to the buttons in the top right corner. In this set of buttons, you can show or hide the sample sizes used for the graphs, various sheets that contain pre-queried pivot tables, and even the data sources used to build this tool. Here is an example of what are contained in the pivot table sheets. To show the pivot tables for single year queries, I can click this button and sheets will unhide from the workbook. I can now navigate to these new sheets based on my interests. If I wanted to see each sector by year, I could navigate to the single year sector sheet. As you can see, there is a pivot table categorized by single years with breakdowns for each sector within those years. You can gain many insights by looking at the values for each column. Most notably, you can refer to the weighted average gross IRR to gauge the performance of a given sector in a year. Each of the pivot table sheets operate in the same way. I can return to the dashboard to hide the pivot table sheets that I was looking at. Lastly, you can show the data sources used to build this tool by clicking this button and add more deals to the raw data sheet if new data has been gathered. The Infrastructure Investment Benchmark tool is an easy-to-use and effective tool that summarizes investment data to formulate a benchmark on infrastructure investment data. This tool will give users a more efficient way to gauge investment portfolio performance and more strategically understand the performance of infrastructure investments.